Hey everybody, it's Paige with The Paige Show. Thanks for joining us again for another episode of Real Talk, Real Life with a flair of spirit and a side of humor. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those great social media connections, and thepageshow.com, where you'll discover information about me, what we're doing, and what's happening next. Hey everybody, it's Paige with The Paige Show. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk, Real Life with a flair of spirit and a side of humor. Today's topic is dirty laundry. So I told you this podcast was about bringing real life things together because we are so many titles, and so the topics are always going to be something that I throw out there, probably based on whatever thought comes to me or parallel scenario from everyday life, because I'm doing the same thing that you guys are doing out there. We're working, we're raising kids, we're running a household, all of those things while still trying to pursue some passion. So today, dirty laundry is about just that. That was the beginning of it that got me down this path. But I walk in from running errands already this morning, and all of your to-do list, you're taking kids to school, whatever is, you jump out of bed, you hit the floor running, whatever that looks like for you. And I come back and I'm thinking, I just need a moment to breathe, and it's like already just 10 a.m. And as I walk into my house, I'm noticing a new pile of laundry that my beautiful daughters, who like to change 4 outfits a day, left for me before going to school today. And not to mention the already huge pile of clean laundry that doesn't look clean to anyone else, except if you know how I roll with things is I have time to wash it, but that's about it. I can wash it, I can get it out of the dryer, but it then goes in a special little love seat area of my house where if it doesn't make it to a closet or a bedroom of anyone who lives in this house with me, they know by now that's the pile you go and pick from. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I have the friends who like iron it all and hang it up, and these like stay-at-home mom friends that laugh at me about just throwing it there on the couch because it's a thing that has to be hung up. It has to have this process that they go through. And for me, it's just one of those things I let go of a long time ago. I don't like wrinkled clothes. I don't want to look sloppy if I go somewhere, but you know what? I'm going to take that one piece and get it ready right before I'm ready to hit the road or event or whatever that may be. So real life, real talk would be that that's how laundry goes in our household. For 6 people, staying on top of that, good luck. And when I'm looking at the piles of dirty and clean, and it's just like, I swear to God, I just did this yesterday kind of moment. And I just have to like put it in a separate box and say, that is not what I had on my long list of to-dos this morning, and it's gonna still be there when I get there or when I get to it. And trust me, remember, follow me on these tangents. It's gonna make sense and come together. As I decide to take my break, take my breath, and just, you know, I literally sat on my bed and just wanted to close my eyes for a minute and be like, okay, whew, what is the next thing I really need to tackle? And then comically, I just see the movie 8 Mile. So Eminem, lovers, haters, whatever, just follow me on this one. So we go from dirty laundry to this the rap battle at the end of the movie, where if you've watched the movie or not, I'll just summarize really quick. The story of whether it's completely realistic or not. I have to give all these outs because you have no idea how many people want to challenge you on all these crazy factual things that really you're missing the purpose of. So I will summarize the movie in kind of the story of his life, where he came from, and all of this history of, him being an outsider in his world, and then always wanting to achieve this success in any way. Fast forward to going through a lot of physical battles, mental battles, trying to believe in himself or not, and all these things. And then he comes to this moment where he's kind of like, I have nothing to lose by finally going after this, and I'm going to be brave. Of course, he's not saying these things because he's way too, cool. I'm summarizing, but and the battle of the end of the movie comes around the rap battle. I grew up loving all kinds of music. I told you rap was my jam. I still, rock out to Nelly or Eminem or whatever in the car rider line at school. Does anybody hear me? And this battle and the point of the battle and all of the parallels to it came to me, that in the last battle, he stands up against the guy who he really knew was probably his biggest challenger, for lack of a better word. And all of the battles before that, everyone's, really bullying him. They're attacking him, and the rap battles are all about all of the negative of his life and all of the things that that they have seen him do, and mess ups, and just really going against him personally, and all these personal issues that you could imagine really knock your self-esteem down, or embarrass you in front of a crowd full of people. And stay with me on the parallels. So then it clicks with him finally in this last battle that if I go ahead and air out all of my dirty laundry first, now you're seeing the connections here. If I go ahead and start the battle and I tell you everything that I know that's crazy, good, bad, embarrassing about myself first, then what are you going to be able to do? It was a moment of kind of an aha moment, and using, brains over muscle, all of these things that he had tried to do in different ways leading up to that point in his life. And he's like, all right, this is how we defeat the enemy, defeat the competitor, whoever or whatever that looks like that's coming against you, is, people want to attack you. People want to tear you down in the deepest parts that will cut you the deepest, because I think we all know in our moments of being more in our shadow self instead of the light that we, try to be, hopefully most of us, most of the time. There's things that just push you to be like, all right, it's on, and in hindsight, those moments where we didn't maybe react the same way that is really our true nature and character, from being provoked or pushed too far, or just finally having enough with whether it's a person or a job or a life experience, but anything that has challenged you, you finally just say enough is enough. And at some point, you bring in intelligence for the battle, or you bring in common sense, or something clicks and you shift the way that you're going up against a battle that has looked very familiar. He battled a lot of people in this movie, in physical, fights, but also rap battles prior to. I am dying laughing that this is an Eminem tangent, but it's hilarious, and it's gonna, come together. But anyway, he battled all of these people and things. And then this last battle, this one that is like, this is do or die to prove myself, and I'm not gonna choke. That's something he says a lot, and they make fun of him for doing because he did in the past. Something clicks and he's like, oh, well, if I tell this guy everything that he is going to make fun of me about, that I can already put that out there for him. And yes, I know all of those things about myself, and I am strong enough to say them before you can. Then you see that when it comes to the guy to challenge him, because he goes on to start the battle and just say everything that you could possibly think your enemy would want to say about you, or somebody who wants to tear you down would use against you. And the guy that he's challenging starts his part of the battle, and he chokes. He has no idea really where to start. And you can just see on both of their faces their different positions in their journey. Like the times where you see the people who've really tried to tear you down just feel like a little speechless, whether they're speechless from seeing how you've progressed in spite of them, or you literally have found a way to make their opinion not matter to you, whatever that may look like. There comes a time where the people who come against you really don't affect you anymore. And we all have different coping mechanisms to handle that, depending on your stage in life and situation. But in this particular one, what was related to dirty laundry is how we use that term, that's our dirty laundry. And we, equate that in spirit world to your shadow self, the things about yourself that you literally know you cannot change because they are pieces of your story. If you could change them, then it takes out a puzzle piece of your soul, your story. And we know that that's not how things work. And so there are certain things that we could do life coaching on, and we can go to therapy on, and we can pray over. And as we grow, we can grow out of certain tendencies or ways of thinking that will shift our behaviors. But as a whole, we're always going to be a shadow, a beautiful little soul of shadow experiences or characteristics and this great positive light. Some of us find balance between the two. Some of us can live in one or the other more than we probably should. And we could go down a whole nother topic of how that looks and what that does for you. But for this particular purpose and podcast, it was just the idea of that shadow side and the connection to the dirty laundry. And so all of that coming full circle to tell you today that in branching out of comfort zones of my own, of me being almost a 40-year-old woman who has done a lot already. I can't imagine what else could be in store for me. I know there's a whole lot, but it's just my point being 40 is not, old. And yet there's some of us who just have been through a lot despite our age, and we have a certain amount of experience that maybe someone in your same age category is a little different with. And so when it comes to someone, I will use me as an example, that has had a lot of dirty laundry. And you get to a point in your progression on your journey and with spirit or whatever your journey is, and even professionally, that you need to take something to the next level. And in this case, all the work that I've been doing behind the scenes and in private and across the country away from anyone that, knew me really growing up, and all of these things, you think of dirty laundry and you replay all of the scenarios in your mind, all of the people that you've pissed off or left, or anything. You just think about what you would put in your dirty laundry pile, the things that we're maybe shameful about, or some of us just have said that is what it is, but nevertheless, it's in a dirty laundry pile. It's something that you don't really want to go through, right? Like with 4 kids, will tell you right now, I don't like to go through. I'm not picking it out and going through the dirty laundry. It scares me sometimes what is in there. And that is the parallel to dirty laundry and how it can stop us from progressing, because there's certain things that we know maybe we don't share with anyone else that is very sacred and secretive to us. We all have that thing or that pile of dirty laundry, the pile of things that we just don't want to have to go through again. We don't want it to be brought to our attention. We don't want to be shamed about it anymore. We don't want to have to explain it anymore. Do any of you hear me, or any of you follow me on this? And then, we choose to create this life that we're comfortable with, that in whatever way, whether it's our circle of friends or a location or whatever we do it with the idea that I'm not going to put myself in a position where that laundry could be aired out, with all the things I just said about it and how that could make you feel uncomfortable. Because let's be real, people are assholes. So not all of us and not all the time, but this is real talk, right? This is a real show about it. I've been the asshole, and we are all capable of being that asshole. And it depends on the situation and our tolerance as to when it rears its head. And we can see right now in the world that there's not a lot of tolerance left. And so a lot of our shadow selves are things that we don't love about ourselves, but we understand are part of us, and we can't change them. We just try to bury them in a pile of stuff and cope with it the best we can, and find some median place to be in with it. Those things can serve you for a time. Those ways that you cope with your issues of dirty laundry, but we talked about in some other podcasts recently the time that we're in and the time of change, and being forced to think about things differently and do things differently. There comes a time, and if it hasn't happened to you yet, trust me on this, that one day you're gonna have your moment where, like, Eminem on 8 Mile had to face this battle, okay? And it has whatever face it has on it. And you're gonna say to yourself that I can no longer ignore or be afraid of or ashamed of my dirty laundry. And instead, I'm going to beat my enemy, whatever that face may have on it, the thing that is holding you back, that is causing fear in your life, so that you don't progress forward because you don't want that to be exposed. So, whatever that moment may be, there comes a time where you say the risk is worth the reward. And for me to move forward on this journey or path, I have to air out all of my dirty laundry and risk, all of that, all that could come back to your memories and feelings about that, for one reason, to heal some of those things and realize that they don't have the same hold on you anymore. And verbalizing things like that, really, really, it's shocking people. If you haven't tried verbalizing to, safe people, safe space, some of those things, you'll realize a lot of them have been in a pile of dirty laundry that really isn't even yours anymore. Are you following me? But you come to that point where you say, okay, I'm going to be like Eminem in the movie, and I'm going to say, I'll tell you everything you need to know that's bad about me now. We'll get it out on the table, and all the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that literally when you try to attack me or hold me back from doing something that could propel me forward, you will have no weapon against me. And there's your, for my Bible people, there's your connection there. If you're a Bible person, you know exactly what I could say after that. No weapon formed, okay, against you. So all of those connections and how it all comes full circle for me is just that. So I, in my experience, have been, up until this point, the person in private. I was great. I was great doing private group things, private one-on-one sessions, talking to just my sacred tribe of people about who I am and what I do. But there was never a place until now, really, that I felt comfortable putting it out there for the world, because we have that dirty laundry that we know, no matter how beautiful it is, what you are doing or being propelled to do, whatever you're being propelled forward in your journey to do, there will be a guarantee of one thing: you will never make everyone happy. And those of you who have ever put yourself out there already can agree that the other big fact in doing that is that people will take that opportunity to point out and bring up all of your dirty laundry to try again to stunt your growth or development, because we already know energetically how this works. And they may not even realize why they're doing it, or it may not be truly vindictive, yet something in them is like, I need to make a comment on this post, and then that makes me think about, this or that. And purely just the fact that through life, the people that you knew growing up to wherever you are now, there were so many people and stages and circumstances for you to have created dirty laundry that there's just no possible way that you can prevent all of the people involved in that and things involved in that not coming up when you've put yourself out there. And so for any of you who are on social media more than just like scrolling through, or have been put yourself out in the arena to be brave and have felt that anxiety of feeling like, oh my God, like every ex-boyfriend or person who called me a bitch or sex shamed me, there's a lot of, slut shaming as teenagers and adults. Like, yes, adults, we still can't get together. But all of these things that no longer apply to you still apply to you and other people's minds, because it's very rare that you have more than maybe a couple of people who have been with you on the entire journey. And we even know examples of your parents who have been with you the entire journey, right, from birth. Some of us have not had that either. But just as an example, even with parents, it's really hard to see you differently. Okay, to see the different stages that you go through and be able to view you as something different than the little girl or little boy, whatever, that you were to them, and the memories you created with them growing up. So why, if we can't expect parents to really view us differently for the most part, would we expect people who just had a small blip in our story to view us differently? That was kind of the thought that came to me. And then when you bring that forward to that, what could be created as a fear factor to not allow you to move forward, it really is obvious to me that there's no way to overcome that besides to give zero fucks. And you've heard me talk about that. That's a huge statement that I love to share in my life. It's kind of like my illusion of control. It's just one of my mantras, and it definitely has its place, and you either give zero fucks about whatever that is and you keep going, or you find a way that is better for you to cope with it. And in my personal opinion, it has always been better for me to just be real. I mean, hence the topic and the whole theme of this podcast. So I have done it in relationships where I started off a relationship, my current partnership of 8 years, where literally the first night that we decided to date and talk and connect was just that. It was just led to, like, we sat at my kitchen bar and I literally aired out all of my dirty laundry. In a sense, at the time, the runaway Gemini in me that I've shared before as well was like, okay, I'm gonna put this all out here and scare the crap out of him. And like, hopefully that will give me a clear sign. If he runs, then we're good. He was not the one. If he stays, then God bless him. And then that's my sign, like that I can start something again after, I had a decade-long marriage that fell apart and was just like, nope, not doing that again. But then this person comes into your life, or experience comes in for your life, and you decide what to do with it. So all of those memories came back to me today with the dirty laundry theme. And it reminded me, why would I handle this any differently? So I don't know, besides for myself, who this is for, but I can imagine I am speaking to a lot of us out there right now that have decided that it's too uncomfortable to put yourself out there because you don't want dirty laundry exposed, and you can't see that the reward would be bigger than the risk right now. And that's fine. You have to do it in your own time. But I hope that this message reaches you in a way that at some point something clicks with you on what your plan could be to move forward. Because the worst thing we could do is just stay still and stay stagnant if we're very clear on what we are supposed to do, but there's just a little fear factor that's playing in. I will tell you, from all of the major shifts that I've done and life experiences that I have, created myself a hardship, or just it was part of the journey, I never lost sight of the fact that I had to push through crazy fear, walls of fear right before the breakthrough. Does that speak to any of you guys? Do you see me? Because right when something's really great for you, right when you can almost taste the goodness of what's next for you, it comes back, the dirty laundry comes back as a reminder of things that we might need to clean up a little bit, but also it comes as a fear factor to fight your mind, to make you begin to fight your mind against something that's really good for you. Because, guess what? If we have a battle with our mind, we get to overthink the whole situation. And then if it doesn't make sense at the end of overthinking it, we're probably not going to go forward, right? Can you guys agree with that? And so it comes up for all of those reasons. It's almost like when I say spirits got jokes, that was my way of coping with those times where I felt like they're throwing those things at me. They're showing me this piece that is next in my journey that could be really great. But then they give me almost like an out, like, are you going to be too scared again to do it and we'll catch you another time? Are you going to, or are you going to find a more creative, inventive way to get past it this time? And so in particular today, and where I am on my journey in this topic of dirty laundry, that is how I would tell you is the best way to propel yourself, oh my gosh, maybe I'll get these words out, forward on the journey, is to air it out first. That's why I wasted your time on this whole Eminem 8 Mile movie scenario, because if you take away your attacker's weapons, if you give them everything they could possibly share about you that's true, right? Then they have no weapon against you, and you can feel very confident to move forward. Then everything else that, all the strangers and all the whatever that comes against you, you literally have the illusion of control over, right? You can't control it. You could not read it, not respond to it, whatever, but you can't control those people, okay? And whatever they put out there is going to be an opinion or a complete lie about whatever. Because if you have aired out your dirty laundry, all of the truths of those things we've talked about, then those true things that they could use against you are gone. Does that make sense? And so then anything else really doesn't matter, because it would happen anyway. It's going to be lies, or it's going to be opinions, or things that just cannot matter to you anyway. The whole other people's opinion of you is none of your business. That's kind of where that comes into play. So on the theme of airing out dirty laundry and how it has really stunted my growth in the past, that's, what I'm here to do today. And I will speed this up and try not to bore you, but I know that my experiences will speak to someone. That's why I feel led to finally share them. Not to mention the whole idea of no longer being okay, stunting my growth out of a concern of that. I'm going to let you guys already know that when you put yourself out here, all of the above things I've talked about will happen. They do happen, already are happening. And so I like to play smart, and I like to strike first. And so I will air it all out there for you before and take away my enemy's weapon against me. And then the rest just kind of falls where it falls. So, yes, I have done a lot of things. There are people who are going to watch this and say, that is, totally the Paige I know, or no, that is not her. That was not my experience with her. And that is truly just based on your role or where you were in my story. The first thing that comes to me with that is in the middle of this crazy, painful growth for me, and this idea of years ago of all this dirty laundry that piled up while I am now trying to be on this path of spirit, right? This calling, whatever you want to put on it, was like, oh my God, all these experiences that were really horrible and how I treated people or I was treated does not really parallel with the messages that I'm sharing today or where I'm at in my path right now. And you would think, God, why did there have to be so much contrast? Well, there had to be those things I went through to have the experiences to share now. The only problem with that is that it is dirty laundry in other people's minds. And so, I have had the times where I have broken hearts and left people and did not defend people, and like all of the things that you could think to hurt people. There are people who have been with me since I was 5. There are people who've been with me and I know would be with me till I die since I was, 25. And there's a lot more of people in between on the spectrum that have not seen the beauty and the light and the things that I try to balance and live in. They definitely, unfortunately, got more of my shadow self characteristics. A lot of it on their own doing, right? And the first thing that I did back in this time of this becoming a reality for me about 5 years ago was I got my first tattoo, and it was of a snake, and it's a purple snake. It's a total Paige snake, but it's all about, it came to me almost like a description of who I am, that, snakes as a whole, they are very calm until provoked. Like, you don't see them going up against cages at the zoo or wherever you see a snake in the yard. They're just kind of chilling, minding their own business, doing what they need to do to survive until provoked, whether you scare them, step on them, try to pick them up, whatever, they're calm until provoked. And really, the snake energy and working with my shamanic work and spirit guides, animals, the snake just really spoke to me, because that is the perfect definition of how I would describe myself. I am very calm. I tend to spectate and not engage a whole lot in craziness and drama unless provoked. And then I will tell you, everyone in my life will say a couple of things. We don't want to see the outfall, after she's been provoked, and we don't want to see what happens after she stops crying. If I'm the one that made her cry, I don't want to know what's coming after she is no longer crying. And both of those things would be true. And so that was something that helped me through the process first, is just understanding that's how I am. And so because that's how I am, that's how I handled a lot of situations in the past. And I didn't have as good of a grasp on handling those before I knew that, right? And so I I have been the one that has been bullied. I have been the one who has kept secrets that, my friends will say I'm the one I could call you if, I took out somebody and you'd probably help me bury them. This is not real, people. I'm just using it as an example, that I keep the secrets. I'm very loyal and I am very trustworthy, but yet I have had those times where I failed myself on that and I did mess up and lost relationship or friendship over something that couldn't be fixed because of an action that I did. We all can relate to this, right? And then, you better yourself afterwards. I have been through a lot of trauma and beauty in my life that has made me fight sometimes harder than to be peaceful. And I had, no dad growing up. My dad left when I was 5 and my mom was single off and on. And, I had the experience of not feeling the love of a parent or a dad in particular as a female and how big that is in a female's life. And I have had the experience of my sexuality, my virginity being taken from me. Okay. And we all know what that means when I say it's taken from me. It was very traumatic and something that I wasn't even able to verbalize or share at the time at the age of 14, almost 15, when it happened. And then that led me down a road of just anger and also exploring sexuality in a very unhealthy way. So all of you who have been through that kind of experience know what I'm talking about, where if you feel like, I guess, my special gift as a woman being taken from me so brutally was not important to the universe. Remember, people were talking about Paige that's still young and growing up, not Paige that's behind the camera with you right now. And so I didn't have the same insight on spirit and connection. And I was like everyone else on our journey, still learning, and just thought, well, I guess it didn't matter to God that it was that special. And so why should I, validate or take it seriously anymore? And you go down the path of being with way too many people and other people's opinions. And, I'm sure there are still great stories out there about that. And you get made fun of and you are the victim of rumors. You can imagine in a very small town and a very small school and the only person with my name at the time. So if the joke was if Paige did it, that was me, like nobody's getting out of that. And so yet today I can stand behind Paige and be like, it's just Paige, and love, like I love my name. There's something about it that is just very special to me. There's lots of parallels to that. That's for another show. So yeah, what had brought me shame and separation, that you're the only person who could have done this because there's not another Paige around right now, has now become something that I am promoting and love about myself by using my name in the Paige show, right? So stay with me, but I have been that person that had to recover from the shame of those choices, but then grow into womanhood and get a different perspective on all of those things. I have been the person who got married young and got divorced later, and who had the kid, with a marriage, and now have 3 children outside of a marriage, that it's not, we're, still not legally married, but I have this family that looks as if we are. And so I've done all of those things and more. I've had times where I've been super disrespectful, verbally abusive, all of these things to people, to my mother, to other people who have loved me. All of these things that we don't say out loud. Like, this is real, right? Like, I am behind a camera that this is going out to millions of people, let's say, and I'm telling you, I've done these things, and it brings you all forward to, it doesn't matter because now I'm telling you. So, you don't have to, you no longer have to see these things and, try to look up dirty laundry on me because, I'm already letting it out there. So it's quite a relief for everyone. Trust me, if you come to a place in time where you feel led to do this, it is quite a relief to know that you've taken away your enemy's weapons and that the people who then choose to move forward are the ones who are really gaining something from you, or even in that, those enemies understanding that they have nothing against you and they either let it go or they end up also gaining something from your progression. Does that make sense? Do you guys hear me, see me? And so, I can think about, I'm sure, a ton of more things in my pile of dirty laundry, but I would tell you those are the tops, right? The breaking up with people and breaking hearts and losing friendships or cutting people off too soon that, probably still had some great piece they could have shared with me, but anger and rage and all these things just make you do certain decisions in a moment. And so there are a lot of people who through the years have loved being on this journey with me, and a lot of people through the years who have been really glad that they opted out or I opted out for them. And there's a lot of sadness in between, I'm sure, of unhealed apologies, or apologies not spoken. We can't possibly make all of the dirty laundry magically clean. There's your parallels. You have to do something to make the dirty laundry clean, but I don't necessarily think that it's all to be cleaned. It's just, you air it out, right? You get it out there. That's the point of this podcast in particular. So I challenge you to think about, if this is where you're at in life, if there's something that you really know you need to do, want to do, but you're scared of what people will say about you, what they will bring up about you, from a Bible Belt girl being forced to go to church Saturdays and Sundays and Wednesdays and all of this stuff, to the girl who now is, talking to people who have crossed and working with all of these different metaphysical tools. And, that alone is a barrier to a lot of people. So I have these people looking at my dirty laundry that are like, that's really cool about you, we didn't know, and I want to know more. And so I don't really care about your dirty laundry. But then I have quite a few who are like, oh my God, we need to save her because she's going to hell, So there's all of that. And the illusion of control being that I already know it's an illusion of control that I could change any of that. But my effort and my job in the matter was really, for this podcast in particular, the message being, beat your enemy to it. If there's something in your life that's important and you're being held back, or you're not doing it because of fear of that dirty laundry being exposed, and it's just too much for you to comprehend, sit with yourself and say it out loud. Say it in a room by yourself, or look in a mirror. I've done that on many things to see the truth in me. I like to look at myself in a mirror and say all of these things out loud that before now I would have not said this publicly. But you say those out loud and you'll see how many things are really not a part of you, not a part of your truth anymore, and how easy it is to get a lot of things off of you as you're saying it out loud. But the real key is that you'll notice it doesn't affect you as much to say it out loud. And so it may lead you down the path of what I have talked about today, where you can use it to beat your enemy to the punch, and you can then have the reward of moving forward and progressing in whatever it is that you're scared to do right now, or apprehensive, whatever word you want to put on it. So again, dirty laundry took us down a whole nother path. Welcome to the Paige show and how it's all connected. But just, I encourage you today, my brain is just so on fire about this, to really think about that. I am sure there is a lot more dirty laundry that didn't come to my memory in this whole spiel of a podcast. But trust me, as we go along this journey together, my story is part of it, and it is the center of it. And so if I didn't say it today, I'm sure it's going to come out in another related talk down the road. So if you just watch this merely for entertainment, then welcome to the Paige show. You get to wait for it, wait for all of the craziness that may surface. So that's where we are. I hope that I find you today in a place of openness where some of this helps you. And until we do it again, take care of yourself. Try to be that light in the world right now when there's not much. And big thing to remember is to keep laughing, because in moments and topics like this, laughing is pretty much all you could do at yourself. That's it for today. But until we do it again, remember, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, and let's keep loving, laughing, and lighting up this world one badass person at a time.